have a camera inside Brock's car, so you'll see plenty. There's the red light, wait for the green. Longhurst, plenty of revs building up now. Brocky always hard off the start, but Longhurst and Miedecke get away. But look at Brock, really smokes the tyres up and gets the power down, and Longhurst ranges up alongside. Great start from Glenn Seaton too in the blue Peter Jackson car, but Brocky, just gets through, half a loads from Peter Brock. Longhurst gets inside, and car 12, that's Mark Scape. Scape into the wall before he got round the first corner, so plenty of drama. But look at Brock, he went sideways, he had Longhurst right up inside him. Glenn Seaton now in third place. Andrew Miedecke trying to barge his way through, and then the two Johnson cars.
Actually, Tony Longhurst did the best initial start, but then he seemed to get it off cam and hesitated, and then Brocky got hold of him. But Tony's going to go for it. He told me that he's determined to win this, and he's certainly got the bit between his teeth. It'll be interesting to see just compare their actual speed down the straights.
Okay, Brock now working the famous 05 car around. He's holding front. What a start. Mark Scape was fired up for this. We were talking to him in the pits yesterday. Unfortunately for him, bang, crash, out. You spin here, you're in a bit of trouble. But here it is now, the Sierra Power, as we see Brock, Longhurst, Seaton and Miedecke with the two Johnson cars right in behind. Now here's the incident again. Look at this as Brock comes around, tucks way down in tight on Longhurst, has a big half loose. Watch for Scape. Bang, straight into the wall. That's expensive.
I think Scape was given a bit of a touch up the backside that caused that.
From one of the Commodores, I would think, and it was the Win Percy car. Okay, Brock still leading. Longhurst nibbling away, takes a different line and ties up a little bit more space there. Gee, Glenn Seaton driving well in third spot.
He certainly is. He did a great start, and he also qualified really well, so he's obviously got that car well attuned to this circuit.
Beautifully turned out car. I was talking to him through the week. One of the problems, he said, running two cars at Bathurst was a mistake. It just took too much of an effort.
Yes, it was. I mean, it's a relatively new team, and to run two cars is a great effort for anybody, let alone a brand new young team like that. But the cars are always beautifully maintained and presented.
Look at this, Brock at his best now. He's just driving, using all of the road. You're riding with Peter Brock now. Have a look at the angles that they get. You've got to remember that all of this horsepower, and we are talking about something in the vicinity, I would think, of 600 horsepower, and we're on very skinny tyres, Alan. You've driven these at Bathurst, so they're a handful, particularly here.
Well, they haven't got as wide a tyres as they'd like, that's for sure. And with being turbocharged, the turbo comes in relatively quickly, and it really gives those back tyres something to work for.
The Ford Sierra's weighing about 1,100 kilograms, 600 horsepower. The Holden Commodore, to give you an idea, is 1,340 kilograms with 460 horsepower, so that's their problem. They haven't got the horsepower and they've got a lot of weight. The Nissan, 480 horsepower with 1,100 kilograms, so their weight to power ratio is, or balance to weight, is much better.
Well, I mean, that's why they were built and designed. That's why they're homologated. I think Ford had this very much in mind when they developed or conceived this car. It is a light car with lots of horsepower, and you can't beat that.
Long time since we've seen the two Dick Johnson cars so far back. John Bowe, of course, driving the car that won in Bathurst. Dick Johnson, as I said, had trouble here in practice, had an engine let go and was parked after only 4 or 5 laps. But it's Peter Brock coming back onto the main straight now with Tony Longhurst in the Benson Hedges car right in behind him. And the two of them blast up past the commentary tower now, and Brock got a little bit of a breather on that one. It's pulled out a little bit of a gap, but Longhurst chasing as they come through the S's and using all of the rotor.
Yeah, and Sierras are in the top 7 position, so that's what I mean. If you throw enough mud up against the wall, some's got to stick.
Can Holden come back with a car next year that can be competitive?
Well, I think so, yes. I mean, next year they're going to give the Holdens wider wheels, wider tyres, less weight, and they're going to put weight onto the Sierras, so hopefully that'll even things up a little bit. And it's certainly something I'd like to see. I'd like to see a few more badges up there amongst those other badges.
Okay. Well, you can see young Glenn Seaton has a handful at the moment because there's plenty of action around him. And there's the positions for you, Brock. out in front. Longhurst is second. And that's been a great charge. But look at this magnificent pictures here as they drive around this tunnel effect on this track. If you've been around, it's really what it looks like. It's a fantastic place, but a lose here is always expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has a tendency to stop you fairly abruptly. Actually, it's good to see old Colin Bond up there. He's having a real go. He's right on Glenn Seaton's tail shaft, and he's giving him a real hurry up. Look at this, under brakes. So Bondy's obviously got that thing sorted out. He's always had lots of horsepower, but he's been suffering from air. I think he's got him. No. Oh, big try on the outside.
Oh, desperate stuff here from Colin Bond, but he doesn't get the line. Glenn Seaton gets the line now. He'll try and duck back inside. He will get him. But Seaton says, oh, little touch of shove. No, as close as you can get. Colin Bond chasing Glenn Seaton.
He'll get him under brakes here for the hairpin. Look, well done, Colin. Fantastic.
Oh,
Oops,
nice
a daisy.
move.
Bit too well done. Well, they reckon slow in and fast out's the way. Whoops, a daisy.
Oh, there's some panel damage happening
Win Percy.
here. Win Percy's gone straight into Colin Bond. He's gone off the track. Percy won't be going too far with that car. Real big mess in the front. Look at this, driving around. Win Percy says, I'm still him. That's Neil Crompton. Tucked in behind him, the two Holdens.
Well, knowing Win, he'll keep going. As long as the car goes, Win will go. He's a really good touring car driver, and he's a real trier. But Allan Grice now, the leader of the Holden Brigade. I thought this would happen anyway. Oops, but Mediki's looks like he's in a few problems.
Oh, that's unbelievable. I mean, he lost a car at Lakeside where it was burnt, but the marshals are right onto it. Disastrous accident for him. What a terrible year for damage this fellow's had.
I tell you what, I don't think they realise there's flames under that car.
He's calling for help. He's calling quickly for help. He would have frightful memories of Lakeside earlier this year.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty horrific accident, and of course the car was burnt right to the ground, and it was very costly for him, and he did very well to get back and get everything organised for Bathurst, and he needs this like a hole in the head.
The new Holdens next year, the VN V8s, 5,000 units have to be produced, and then 500 special units to make sure that the car is on the track. And Alan, I was talking to Neil Crompton, they are pretty excited about it. They think they can come up with a package that will at least run with the Sierras.
Yes, I was talking to John Bagshaw earlier today, and he was quite happy and smiling and confident that they'd be able to turn out a product that would at least give the Sierras a bit of hurry up, and it's something I'd like to see.
Okay, car 8 has been flagged off.
Much on the outside of the wheel is badly damaged, but it also looks like the rest of the wheel.
And that fire of Andrew Madecki's car has settled down. Brock's still in front. Tony Longhurst still running second to him. Okay, as you watch Peter Brock at work, we'll take a break and be back shortly. Peter Brock, the man they call the King of Bathurst. You're sitting in his office now, watching him at work at Adelaide. Tony Longhurst running behind him, acknowledges the flag marshal there. Hand out.
Actually, they're throwing a red flag out, Darrell. They're obviously stopping the race.
Well, I mentioned that the car 8 had been flagged in.
The two BMW M3s.
The two BMWs have gone in. And this is quite a mess. Actually, there are cars strewn all over the circuit. The red flag is out. That was what Peter Brock was indicating to Longhurst. He was saying, shut it down. We've got to obey the red flag. And a bit of carnage out there, Alan. There's cars all over the place. It started off that the black flag came out for the car number 8, which was the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, you mentioned the Mercedes. With all this carnage going on, he's probably got the best sponsor.
And there's Andrew Miedecki's car, and it really probably looks worse with all that foam all over it. But as I said, he lost one car earlier this year at Lakeside through fire, totally burnt, destroyed the car. That's one of the BMs parked. Now let's have a look at the incident here. Here's the BM goes inside, and that's Laurie Nelson's Mustang. And oh, big lift there as he goes over the top of the bumper. That's Peter Doolman in the BM. And that was Laurie Nelson in the Mustang.
Well, just as well it wasn't centre. He'd be fined $100,000 for that.
Well, the car's now pouring through. They've obeyed the red flag, of course. They've come down. That's the red flag out there. Glenn Dix letting everybody know that the accident on the other part of the circuit that they obviously can't see. They're getting rid of the cars off the circuit. We'll take a break and we'll be back shortly.
Race has been stopped because of numerous incidents on the track, and that's just one of the cars involved in the aftermath with a bit of a bingle. Thankfully, Jackie, nobody's been seriously hurt. It's just the cars that are suffering a bit of bruising.
Yes, a lot of fiberglass damage and a lot of sheet metal damage. Touring car racing, when the wheels are enclosed like that, it doesn't produce the type of dangerous accident that we've seen in single-seaters.
All right, Barry Sheene's down there in amongst all the mess. What's happening, Baz?
John Bell, there was a lot of carnage out there. I know you didn't see it because you were having your own little bit of aggravation. What's all this? What's happened to the back of the car?
Barry, the first lap that started to misfire for some strange reason, and then it started cutting out down the straight altogether and coming back on song again, and going through the S-bends up near the Stag Hotel, it cut out altogether, and I had the biggest lose I've ever had in my life, I think, but I caught the fence. I thought I was going to miss it, but I got it, unfortunately. So, you know, it seems to be a bit of a hoodoo place for us over here, because we had a big problem last year with cutting out and whatnot.
God. You should have seen it. You should have seen the action between the M3 and the Mustang. The M3 went right over the bonnet of the Mustang. It was not a pretty sight.
It's really a bit of a tight track for a touring car, I think.
Okay, thanks a lot, John.